Story 1. Ghosting has become a common occurrence. Additionally, people often date someone they do not genuinely like just to have companionship until the right person comes along. Story 2. Texting can help break the ice. I understand why it feels awkward, as if we're trying to determine if a first date is worthwhile based on a few brief exchanges during our free moments. However, if you don't text, the likelihood of them canceling at the last minute increases significantly. Story 3. Lack of communication and passivity have been frustrating. I have been stood up many times, and it would have happened more if I hadn't started checking in on the day of the event, often without receiving a confirmation or response. Being rejected directly is actually refreshing now. Story 4. I am 44 years old. I have spent a total of 20 years with 2 women who are no longer in my life. Currently, I am not trying to determine if I can handle a third relationship. Story 5. People are not interested in a long-term relationship and do not plan on being faithful. It seems that people date just to spend a few Saturday nights with someone. Story 6. Taking days to respond is frustrating. It's worse when you connect with someone, and they eventually leave you waiting for hours, only to reply with half-hearted responses that make it difficult to continue the conversation. Story 7. Cheaters. I had a one-night stand in my car. It turned out I was her last fling on the morning of her wedding day. Story 8. People are dishonest about their intentions, claiming they want to be with you, while instead engaging in a slow fade after having overwhelmed you with affection for weeks. Story 9. People say they are looking for a relationship, when in reality, they just want to engage in casual encounters. Additionally, they experience being ghosted. Story 10. The fact that nobody wants to commit to anything, and everything is an undefined situation. I left my 9-year relationship in November 2022. I have not had one person I have been involved with show any inclination to be in an actual relationship with me yet. It has been so disheartening that I have completely given up on hoping for it one day. It will never happen. Story 11. The last girl I dated secretly was involved with multiple people until one night when everything clicked. We received the same text at the same time, and the truth was revealed. We then played rock, paper, scissors to decide who would text her back, and we all sent her a Snapchat of us waving. She couldn't understand why I didn't want to date her. She had betrayed many people over the years I knew her. She was a complete sociopath and really lowered the bar when it came to human standards. She made me realize how deceptive people can be when they constantly hide things. Story 12. How quickly people want to move through relationships these days. Within 6 months, they are having a baby and then getting engaged. I see so much of that now. I've had many guys in the past who tried to say we would be together forever, but I have only had one relationship last over a year. Story 13. In my experience, people often lose interest when the relationship becomes exclusive. I'm not referring to the mellowing out stage, but rather to those who act like you don't exist unless it's time for intimacy. If I only wanted a physical relationship, I would seek a casual encounter. Even worse are those who simply want someone to share the rent with them. They should find a roommate instead. Story 14. Matching with someone on Tinder often results in either them never messaging first or, if I message first, I receive no response. Essentially, I am not receiving any interest. Story 15. I was engaged to the woman I thought I would be with for the rest of my life. Turns out that forever didn't last long, and I'm still stuck in my head over everything that happened, even though it has been over a year now. Story 16. 2 failed relationships ended in the same way. The first guy ended things via text. The second guy, after hearing about this, promised he would never do that but did it 3 months later. This triggered many trust issues for me. Additionally, my disability makes it difficult to meet new people. Story 17. People assume I'm gay because I like the band Queen. People assume I'm a pervert because I wrote fun in my profile. They did not like it when I said I was referring to things like the beach and the fun fair. They also did not answer when I asked what the first thing was that came to mind when they saw the word fun. Story 18. I connect with very few men. When I finally find one I am compatible with who likes me back, which happens about once a year on average, They often overwhelm me with affection only to lose interest 2 to 3 months into dating. It's exhausting. Story 19. Nothing really. Dating has always been fun for me, even when it didn't work out. It's an adventure and things can go wrong, but that's part of the experience. I am in a long-term relationship now. Story 20. If it doesn't work out, instead of everyone going their separate ways, it turns into a significant display of trying to ruin the other person. Story 21. The unquestioned and unverified assumption that being or having excellence, being above average, or being the best is a guarantee of satisfaction and fulfillment. I have experienced the most pleasant surprises with the unlikeliest of women, or women I initially thought I wouldn't enjoy spending time with. Additionally, attractive people can be dumped or cheated on. Wealthy individuals, harmful people, funny individuals, people with confidence, those with sexual appeal, individuals with status, or those possessing desirable physical traits, as dictated by societal standards, are not guaranteed to be fulfilled or successful. It all seems like one big lie. None of those attributes are reliable indicators of whether a relationship will be successful or satisfying. I am not saying to avoid having standards, but how much do people truly need to enjoy life and living? Story 22. Women, no offense, but you have some high standards and attitudes these days. Don't get me wrong. A lot of men need to improve as well, but no one is offering you the sun, the moon, the stars, and a few $1,000,000. Story 23. Dating apps often attract egoistic and superficial individuals. I wish I had known their true nature when I was initially dating them. Many were simply seeking attention and nothing more, resulting in experiences of ghosting and catfishing. Story 24. Misogyny, the rightward shift in politics by American men. Men dating for sex instead of love, and the prevalence of lying, cheating, and dishonesty are troubling issues. My health has been affected by the clear lack of empathy for people with chronic conditions in society today. I have no patience for this abuse anymore, and I have decided to distance myself from it. At 40, I have found it easier to let go. Story 25. Becoming unplugged. The burden of knowledge I gained not only clearly explained the negative outcomes I was experiencing, but it has also turned me off from ever bothering with dating again. Story 26. I have been on some dates with difficult people. At some point, I stopped trying because it wasn't worth it and I have other concerns. Story 27. Transitioning. I live in a town in a blue state near a predominantly red town. Many people in my community lean red and want to shift the state's political alignment. No matter how hard I try to connect with someone for dating or friendship, as soon as they learn I am transgender, I feel marginalized. I am exhausted with this experience. Story 28. Being judged by someone can be difficult. I appreciate that you may not share my interests, but you do not need to critique every aspect of my existence. Story 29. I went on a date. We went for pho, and this person was slurping and moaning in between each bite. I really couldn't handle it. Story 30. Men have expectations of women that can be outrageous. I'm not sorry for saying this. Many seem to buy into the notion of social media, especially as they get older. I stopped dating to avoid hearing these expectations. Additionally, I will not bring a resume to a date. It's important to remember that both parties need to offer something. If you are a good person and we connect, let's move forward from there. Please be more self-aware. Story 31. Finding out they don't want a relationship but prefer friends with benefits. Apparently, you can't find a proper relationship these days, just boys who want to have casual encounters. And they wonder why women are attracted to older men instead. Story 32. At some point, you may give up because the risk-reward calculation is no longer favorable. At the end of the day, what people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed. It hits hard, then slowly fades, leaving you feeling stranded in a failing marriage. Break the cycle. Focus on science. Story 33. As women age, they may experience increased romantic disappointments, anxiety, obesity, low self-esteem, and a lack of social connections, along with past romantic failures. Story 34. It has been ruined for me before I even started. I have never had a good relationship to look up to. My parents have not liked each other for as long as I can remember, and my older sisters have not had the best experiences either, which leaves me with nothing to aspire to. I have had silly boyfriends in middle school, but that was just for labeling. It was never anything serious. Because of all of this, I have no desire to date. It makes me cringe even thinking about it, and I am afraid I will be this way forever. Story 35. My recent breakup has left me feeling like I might never find someone like him again. I no longer have any desire for a relationship or dating. Story 36. Nothing did. The catfish, the ghosting, the horrible dates, the desire to give up, the great dates that turned into nothing, the instant connection that goes nowhere, were all worth it to find my person. It's rough out there, but there is definitely someone for you. Don't lose hope. You've got this. Story 37. Social media influences how people are perceived online, with many striving for an aesthetic similar to popular creators on platforms like TikTok. However, I also feel that social media can have a negative impact on critical thinking. Despite this, I enjoy the memes. They always provide a good laugh. Story 38. Being unexpectedly dumped via text by someone I believed I had a future with was painful. He put on a masterful performance and knew all the right things to say. Being used, taken advantage of, and then discarded deeply traumatized me and affected my ability to date. Feels better to be alone. Story 39. Dating the wrong people and denying it to yourself during the relationship can be challenging. Love can make you blind, but being hurt too many times takes a toll. I appreciate women, but I struggle to trust them. Story 40. For whatever reason, whether it is by physical, mental, emotional, or social means, I feel unappealing to most people. I would like to think I have some self-awareness, but I struggle when it comes to building emotional or romantic connections with others. I have come to accept that I may be alone for the majority, if not the entirety, of my life. Story 41. I haven't really gotten into it. I was just being friendly, but I found things too complicated. I didn't really engage, and now I feel like missing the experience won't hurt. Of course, it would be nice to have a partner or girlfriend, but I guess it is what it is. Story 42. The ghosting phenomenon is real. Some people will go on a first date and then disappear. I've had a few dates where they even left some possessions with me. That's quite surprising. Some individuals will unmatch me a day before we're supposed to meet. It's a harsh world, but not for me. Story 43. When he makes it very clear that he just wants to go to bed, I would even be interested in something casual. There is no need to explain yourself. Just say it once and she will understand. It makes me feel like a slut, and I am not one. Story 44. Losing my identity and contemplating suicide over a girl who would not care if I did it or not. Story 45. When she randomly mentions that she and her ex still have a good friendship and text communication, supposedly they can be open with each other about their relationships. I just don't see it that way. How come if a guy were doing that with his ex, it would be a problem for most women? Story 46. Racism. I am either fetishized and seen as an experiment or considered undesirable. I will delete the applications. Story 47. Having what seems like meaningful conversations and then receiving a message asking, "What color underwear are you wearing? What is your bra size? Do you shave?" And so on. Story 48. The last few girls thought I could fix them. Now I'm burnt out when it comes to finding anyone attractive because my expectations in relationships are different from the actual norm. Story 49. I think after my last relationship 5 years ago, I became fed up with the pattern of dating men who only wanted me to validate their existence while simultaneously expecting me to help them grow. If I ever wanted children, this repeated experience squashed that desire. I became tired of the men I dated acting immaturely. Then, I spent a long time single and enjoying my own growth, so it became strange to think about dating at all. I went on a few dates and I could see right through them. They never asked me questions about myself and only seemed interested in what I could do for them. So, I guess the men I met ruined dating for me. Story 50. What ruins dating for me is that many people are still affected by past experiences. Instead of taking time to heal, they keep jumping from one relationship to another. That unhealed pain often spills into the next relationship. Story 51. I am 31, but I have always approached situations with optimism. I recently dated someone for 3 weeks who was manipulative, put me down, and often got upset, blaming me for his feelings. Although it was a short time, it really affected me, and now I am not interested in dating at all. Story 52. I haven't had any luck with dating apps and find them a chore. Writing a bio, searching for a few decent pictures, and swiping on people when I rarely get any matches feels like a waste of time. Then these apps want you to subscribe for extra features, with some less popular options even locking basic features behind a subscription. I believe that if I met the right person at the right time, we could connect. However, since I'm more introverted and usually avoid people due to social anxiety, that's probably not going to happen for a while, but I'm okay with that. Story 53. All the insincere individuals on websites who are either sex workers pretending to be interested in you, asking for money, or those who think they can take advantage of you and play games. I would rather spend my hard-earned money on myself and live well. Story 54. Men don't ask me any questions, and almost every date turns into me listening to him monologue about his life. Then he gets mad that I don't want a second date. It's just so boring and a waste of time. I have better things to do. Story 55. Women who say, I'm not like those basic individuals, are actually telling you the truth. They are 10 times worse than the last one. Story 56. Realizing that it is impossible for me to love or to be loved, I decided to be an empty shell filled with information instead of a person with a big heart. Story 57. Girls with social circles they have to maintain face a very competitive and friend-like rivalry. They often feel the pressure to subtly introduce each other on social media platforms, making everything about appearances. Story 58. I am not into the hookup culture. I identify as demisexual and demiromantic, and I want to be in a healthy, committed relationship. It is hard for me to consider dating because the partners I have been with did not take accountability for their actions. My last ex physically, verbally, and emotionally abused me. He did not think he was in the wrong for grabbing my wrists, pinning me down, and screaming at me. It broke my heart deeply. He had road rage issues and a controlling nature. One partner, a situationship, failed to communicate and was only interested in me for physical intimacy. They would purposely keep me in the dark, did not help me in my time of need, and abandoned me. They only cared when physical intimacy was involved and ghosted me whenever I tried to connect with them. I ended up blocking them because I was tired of their manipulative behavior. In a relationship that lasted a decade, he was stuck in a cycle. He would move in with family or friends, get a job, complain about that job, complain about the family or friend he was staying with, quit the job, and then move in with another family member or set of friends. The final straw for me was when I was teaching him how to drive. He consistently wanted to blast the radio, ignore me, and when he did not get his way, he would pull over, yell at me, and walk away. An ex from late middle school to early high school was only interested in me for physical intimacy. He cheated on me with other girls. After he broke up with me to pursue another girl, he became a father before graduating high school. The girl he had a child with would physically abuse him. My heart cannot accept any more lack of accountability and abusive behavior. It would take a lot for me to consider a relationship. Story 59. I dated many women from dating applications, and I assure you, most of them began scrolling through the app as soon as we faced even the slightest issue or if I disagreed with something they suggested. I caught many of them scrolling on the dating app where we connected. Story 60. I haven't met a normal guy around my age who isn't driven by his sexual fantasies. I swear they all are addicted to pornography in this generation. Story 61. Monopolizing romantic interests used to mean liking one person or maybe two, and feeling a bit conflicted until choosing one. Now, people invite you to casual gatherings presented as non-date events, hoping to attract other potential interests at the same location. They take pictures of you quickly as proof that an attractive person is interested in them. They want to spend a lot of time together because they are bored with themselves but have no intention of pursuing serious commitments. Story 62. The realization that I am unworthy of true love, yet at the same time, I am too bored with one-night stands and casual encounters. Story 63. Being treated as a sponge to overshare and then abandoned. People who suddenly realize they're not ready. Ghosting is everywhere, along with the negative culture that normalizes it. Ending a relationship at the first inconvenience. Story 64. Being ghosted or having high standards, such as wanting to spend time together, are significant reasons, I suppose. Story 65. I don't want someone in my life who doesn't want me. I just want to understand what changed their mind if they were interested in me earlier. It drives me crazy not knowing why. Story 66. I previously answered a similar question and I will respond here as well. I dislike uncertainty. Do not hesitate to ask them about your relationship status, and if they cannot provide a clear answer or refuse to respond, you should exit that situation. Story 67. Honestly, being told things that aren't true or just said to make me feel better is frustrating. Nobody is honest anymore. They just tell you what you want to hear and then pretend like it never happened. Story 68. Dating apps have changed the landscape of dating. These days, if you approach a woman and get rejected, you might find yourself on social media, being labeled a creep for simply trying to get to know someone attractive. Story 69. Finding the love of my life really threw a wrench into the whole dating scene. I've tried, but she moves on quickly. Story 70. Realizing I only find people attractive, and the idea of going further with someone romantically or sexually makes me uncomfortable. Aromantic. Story 71. Meeting my husband has been a wonderful experience. He brings a lot to the table, is motivated, self-disciplined, and communicates well. I knew I wanted no one else after our first date, as this is the perfect combination for me. Story 72. I dated a guy who was 10 years older and was cheating the entire time, despite begging me to say, "I love you," back. I went through his phone and found a message to his best friend saying, "I'm going to see if I can break him." Next, I dated another guy who was also 10 years older and had been a missionary in the country I was in, which is rare to find among gay ex-missionaries. He often cried on my shoulder, telling me about how he hurt his ex-wife and kids by cheating with men, how he hurt the men after his divorce by using a fake identity and lying to them. Then he screamed at me the night I confronted him for lying about his age. He was actually 15 years older, not 10. He had been on Grindr while sleeping in my bed with me while I was asleep, and there was more nonsense involved. Story 73. I found out I'm demisexual. The modern dating scene is not designed to accommodate that. Investing months in random people just to determine if I like them has not been worth the effort. Story 74. Unrealistic expectations in women and the general "I'm the prize" mentality is why I don't engage. This is ironic because, statistically, many women in the United States struggle with weight issues and do not merit my time. Story 75. All this new age PC pronoun debate divides people into numerous groups under various labels in the name of equality. Now, all women seem to resemble what might have been men at one point. Story 76. Using dating sites can be a hassle, and first dates often feel like job interviews. Sometimes I would be open to a second date and express that, but the guy never texted me back. Story 77. Dating applications often lead to constant objectification. The culture surrounding casual relationships has created an imbalance in dating dynamics due to a lack of transparent communication. Interactions are either extremely casual, disregarding people's time and emotional investment, or focused on serious commitments with no middle ground. Few individuals can truly engage in ethical non-monogamy. There is a noticeable absence of romance and effort in modern courtship practices. Additionally, toxic monogamy promotes unhealthy dependency, suggesting that one must prove loyalty by allowing their partner to invade their privacy, such as going through their phone. Furthermore, the influence of misogyny and certain online communities can make men feel entitled to intimate relationships based on their wealth, perceived kindness, or physical appearance, leading them to believe that women will be drawn to them if they pursue personal development toward an idealized version of masculinity. However, these superficial attributes do not guarantee interest from women. To attract meaningful connections, men should focus on being kind, intelligent, and humorous, qualities that foster a sense of safety and security in relationships. Ultimately, Men have historically competed for women's attention and time, not the other way around. Story 78. I just can't be bothered. I have been single for 7 years by choice. I have lived alone for over 5 of those years. There has never been a time when I thought being in a relationship would improve any aspect of my life. I have never felt that having someone else and their belongings in my home is what I am missing. I have done a lot of work on my mental health. I do not want someone random to disrupt that. I would be open to a companionship arrangement. We can split bills and spend time together, and I am happy to help answer your family's questions about why you are still single. You can date other people not in our home, and I will tell your parents that I cannot have children, so they will not expect grandchildren. We can have many dogs and eat dinner at 4 p.m. or 10 p.m. There is no schedule. Let's share the cost of cheese. It is getting expensive. Story 79. The idea of finding another person who readily allows his mother to be a third wheel and dictator in our relationship is unsettling. I have been feeling freaked out about this for a while now. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.